Hello, my friends. So, let's take a minute and talk a little bit about false equalities. And um, this is a political video, so if you're not into that, it might trigger you, so you might want to skip this one. But I'm just going to try and do a fair analysis of certain things that I've heard lately and that just sort of like blow my mind. So, obviously, we have our ex-con, well, not ex-con, our professional con ex-president that is facing, like any other person, facing consequences for breaking the law and going through the process right now. And I think a lot of the people are sort of like going by the snippets in media and kind of like guiding themselves by people that don't really know what the fuck they're talking about and that honestly are not other anything other than grifters. You know, you have the Breitbarts of the world, you have the Tucker Carlsons of the world, even though Tucker Carlson is not a moron. He is very intelligent. There's a reason why he's a millionaire and he has been able to establish himself the way he did. And it's sadly that a lot of this intelligent, if you bear with me, people are choosing to use the fear mongering and the divide and just being political hacks and making things worse for everybody. Now, I always tell people I do not like politics. I do not enjoy them. They're annoying. It's like shouting out of an open window, and at the end of the window, there's a brick wall. It's kind of pointless, but it does matter because things don't happen in a vacuum and they affect your day to day life. Like right now, we have the loan forgiveness for students, which in my case, at 43 years old, that would be an amazing relief. And I was one of the first ones to apply, and I received the letter, and I was granted the loan forgiveness. And it was because I was part of a predatory master's degree program. But it's not going to happen. Why? Because of politics. Because Republicans have decided to just oppose everything that Democrats put forward just to spite. They don't have any other reason. They're lying to you about fiscal issues. They're lying to you about the money, where is it coming from, about taxes. That has been the Republican Party for years now. I would say for probably the last 17 years. They don't have policies. They don't have idea. All they do is they are that team that plays a great offense, if you will. But that's it. Their work, their job is to oppose, while they have no leadership that is worth taking a second look at. Now, everybody's like freaking out about Donald Trump facing consequences. Anybody that was around in the 80s knows the reason why people are so stuck on stupid on Donald Trump is because he was an icon. He is the last rich boy from the high era of Wall Street and millionaires and Coke and party and celebrity and all of that. So there is some sentimental relationship with him. You know, he's the ultimate trust fund baby. And even that, he was able to mess it up. He has gotten away with everything in life for years, barely has faced any consequences. And it speaks more to the illness of America that people are so, again, stuck on stupid on defending somebody that's indefensible, and that they try to equate certain things. So let's talk about things like that. Now, the documents issue, and we'll put that one to rest very quickly. Mike Pence did the same thing. Hillary Clinton did the same thing. Biden did the same thing. I'm sure Bush, if he looks somewhere around, he'll find some documents. Obama. These things happen. The difference is when they have happened with these people, they quickly responded, they were proactive, they cooperated, and they rectified the issue, and it died there. So it's not the same. It is not fair to say, well, what about such and such? Because it is nowhere near the same situation. We are talking about a defiant person that knew that what he was doing is wrong, got caught, tried to hide it, and now he is where he is. So let's talk a little bit about Hunter Biden, right? Because that's the other what about that people keep bringing up. The investigation into the Biden's dealings has been open for 7 years, which means that when the failed ex-president professional con was in power, that was going on. They have not found any evidence whatsoever about briberies or anything similar. And I don't give a flying F about what a son's or a daughter of a president does, as long as the president is doing what he needs to be doing. But he is a private citizen. He is allowed to have businesses. If we're going to bring that up, then we need to be talking about Trump's kids who run a business that right now in New York, they are fighting so they can't do any more fraudulent business. And talk about nepotism. All of these people got influence and power positions in the government while daddy was at work. In contrast, Hunter Biden did not get that. Hunter Biden is being investigated by a prosecutor that was appointed by the Trump government, or not Trump government, because this is the Department of Justice, but this is a prosecutor that was appointed by Republicans. When a president comes in, he has options. A lot of them actually ask all ADAs to resign so they can appoint their people. President Biden didn't do that. President Biden allowed a Republican prosecutor to continue to investigate his only son, because let's remember, he lost his wife and his daughter in an accident, and his other son, Beau, to cancer. So this man allowed a hostile prosecutor to investigate his son, to press charges, and found consequences. Now, Hunter Biden got charged with not paying taxes and lying in a government form. You want to talk about a two-tier justice system? Most Americans that would have done that, Uncle Sam has no interest in putting you in jail. They would much rather find you, put interest on your debt, have you pay that debt, and make the money. And with lying in a form, you might get community service for that, depending on how bad it is. Hunter Biden is now on probation for 2 years with 2 misdemeanors in his record. And if he messes up, he'll go to jail. Talk about a contrast. He is a president. He could have extended a blanket pardon for his son. Didn't do that. The computer, they found a bunch of naked pictures of the man doing drugs. What's new? Half of America is doing that. People in this country love their drugs. They love popping their pills. They love their fentanyl. They love all that stuff. So because he was having a little bit of fun and somebody found that in the computer, now he's the worst criminal? Come on. And even the computer, nobody knows where the computer is now. The Republican investigators lost the evidence. But if you are somebody that's letting Joe Rogan rot your brain, just to name somebody, because there's a lot of people in media that are just hacks or morons or quacks, you're not gonna hear the facts. So this is somebody that is facing consequences and hasn't said a peep about it. Neither has his father. And let me tell you something, the investigation remains open, and if they find something else and they need to face consequences and be locked up, be my guest, because I'm not in a cult. I vote for people that are doing something for the country, something that benefits my life, that increases access, that increases progress. That's who I'm voting for. I could care less about the individual. I care about your record. And I'm not saying that Biden is the best president, but we have to be fair and say that he has accomplished a lot in comparison to other presidents in a very short time, in very dire consequences. And again, I'm not excusing the man, I'm just laying the facts. Now, for those of you, again, that are letting brain rot set in, Trump was charged with 37 counts under the Espionage Act. There's 81 witnesses. There is multimedia evidence. There is audio evidence. There is video. And after his arraignment, which you're not supposed to do, he has continued to talk about the issue and incriminate himself more. And a lot of people don't know these interviews that he's doing can be used against him. And he has, in all of them, said, yes, I had the documents. Yes, I was hiding them because I needed to go through the boxes. I wanted to do it on my own time. And people don't seem to be paying attention to that. How is it a witch hunt when the person themselves are admitting to the crime? And if you want to think that they're being unfair, look at the facts. The last person that got charged with espionage was a female, had an amount of documents that were classified, didn't show them to anybody, and received 4 years conviction. After that, we had a Marines that got caught sending information in social media. Have you seen that kid since he got arrested? No, because a regular Joe would be in prison, isolated. Trump was able to walk out of court the day of his arraignment and was not even limited to leave the state. He was allowed to move freely, give a rally at Bedminster in New Jersey the day of the arraignment. Gets the judge of the year. Again, you want to talk about a witch hunt? You know how many federal judges are there? And they land on Eileen Cannon, the same person that tried to give him a pass when this case started, the same person that he appointed and she has a lifetime appointment thanks to him. You don't think that's biased? And the prosecutor has not filed to disqualify her. And she has not recused herself, which if she had 1 cent of dignity, she would have done, because the law asks you to do that. The law says that if a judge has a bias or the appearance of bias and impropriety, I can never pronounce that word right, they should recuse themselves. They have not asked her to be disqualified. The prosecutor should have filed that motion the day of the arraignment and asked for her disqualification, because there's precedent that her decisions got reversed by a very conservative circuit of appeals judge, saying that what she did was unlawful, and they reversed her decision. So if you don't think that's a softball right there, you're tripping. You should be seeing a psychiatrist at this point. On top of that, they have continued to move forward with Aileen Cannon, and today she decided that she does not want to hear about the 81 witnesses. She didn't flat down shut it down, so we might see their testimony come into play, but that is another pass right there. Why are you shutting down 81 witnesses appearing? Even though I know the prosecutor has a pretty slam dunk case, but why would you, again, see a decision like that where a judge is telling you, no, I am not hearing witnesses, and you are not filing a motion to disqualify? That's your two-tier justice system right there. That's what a rich white male gets away with in this country. And what scares me is not him, because he's not the problem. What scares me is that he appeals to Americans. That Americans had come to a point when Obama was in power where diversity, inclusion, tolerance, progress, healthcare was in the air. People were ready to make some changes. And the answer to those efforts was to pick out of 17 candidates the most antisocial, psychopathic one. So he's not the problem. Americans are the problem. The fact that somebody that is so bigoted, so evil, so contrary to all the morals and values appeals to Americans and is the runner-up for a re-election is terrifying, because that tells me he was a bullhorn. That tells me that Americans are racist, do not want health care for everybody. They do support the caste system, that you guys value your guns way more than any life. So don't give me the for the children. You cared two shits about children. If you cared about children, somebody would be doing something about all of the children that are in foster care. Somebody would be approving Medicare for all. Somebody would be working in affordable child care, on longer parental paid leave. That's caring about the children. This country needs to do some serious self-reflection. And honestly, I can't wait for all of these old people to leave government in whichever fashion they do, because we need more of this younger generation that values progressive ideas, that values quality of life and equality and fairness above wealth. It is time. And it's sad because I feel like those of us that are like Gen X, that are now kind of like close to power, forgot who we were as a generation. We were one of the most loud, independent, against the system generations, and we sold out. I don't know where that fighting spirit went. We were the generation that didn't want to conform. And now, not a peep. So, when you talk about witch hunts and unfairness, try to read the facts. They are treating him like they treat any rich white male in this country, with kids' glove, with deference, and so far with a slap on the wrist. We'll see if the trial moves forward. It's slated for December, but I'm not holding my breath because people like that, they get away with murder. And he said it in 2016. He ran on that. And let me tell you something. When they tell you who they are, believe them.